In this interview series we call The Circuit, TechPoint serves up the human stories behind the major tech headlines in Indiana. I'm your host, Jordan Isaacs, Relationship Manager at TechPoint. Today we talk to Matt Tyner, Vice President of People Operations and GM at Wunderkind. Wunderkind helps e-commerce marketers create one-to-one customer experiences at scale through all the channels they own. In this episode, we talk about Matt's journey into tech, how the company has evolved since it started, and what's on the horizon for Wunderkind. Matt, it is so great to be at the Wunderkind office today. In downtown Indianapolis, we are right by where the Pacers play. You guys have a prime spot. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is incredible. Our roots actually started at 91st Meridian, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So coming down here, access to all the energy in downtown Indianapolis has just been an incredible change of pace for Wunderkind.
Yep. You have 2 floors. We walked through the entire space. This is really cool. So we're excited you're down here.
We are trying to set the bar high for what it means to be a technology company here in Indianapolis.
Yep. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So for folks that aren't aware of Wunderkind or don't exactly know what you do, kind of give me the overview. So who are you? Who do you serve? What are you about?
Yeah, so Wunderkind very simply is a market-leading performance marketing engine. Okay, and it really focuses on retail and other verticals that operate like retail.
Got it.
With a focus on email marketing, text message marketing, and on-site personalization.
Okay.
To transform a consumer's experience on a retailer's website to best meet their needs. Very simply, we pair audience segmentation technology, Smarter HQ, now Wunderkind Audiences, with Wunderkind's identity network.
Okay.
To be able to guarantee revenue as a service to our customers, because that's where the SaaS industry is headed. No more SaaS. 2022 is really the beginning of what I think we will see in MarTech specifically, which is guaranteed revenue as a service.
Interesting. I want to unpack a couple things there. So as I just think about the consumer experience, so I'm walking to Target. We're having a baby, so going to be purchasing a lot of things. How does Wunderkind interact with me?
Yeah, so what we're ultimately setting out to do and what the MarTech industry at large is trying to solve for is the creation of that one-to-one experience that you have at Target, but in the online world.
Okay.
So think about your experience when you're walking through a mall or through a store and how those things can be replicated in your experience with a brand online.
Got it. That makes good sense.
Yep.
You talked a little bit about how the industry is going to change, and I think I'd like you to go a bit more deep into that. Kind of what does that look like moving out?
Yeah, totally. And I think I'll start with the challenges that retailers are faced with, right? Okay. Those challenges are very much the same that they've been since we got started in 2010. More traffic, more eyeballs, and an ability to convert those customers at a faster clip.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that we're doing in MarTech is in response to the retail challenges, the challenges that retailers face today more so than ever, with the onset of social media and influencer marketing, for example. Micro brands really pushing big box retailers to take a similar approach in how they engage with the hearts and minds of their consumers. Really forces those retailers to leverage technology like Wunderkind to try to get as close to that one-to-one experience as possible that you had at Target.
So MarTech is kind of a crowded space. What opportunity did Wunderkind see, and what specific challenges are you trying to solve for those customers and potential customers?
Definitely. I think the opportunity is how retailers leverage the behavioral data that they have available to them to solve for who and how. What audience to receive what message at what time.
Got it.
And we leverage data to do that. So it's the combination of Wunderkind's platform with Smarter HQ, now Wunderkind Audiences, that allows best-of-breed segmentation capabilities, the who, to be combined with the best-of-breed identity technology that Wunderkind had that really allows you to address that opportunity in this market.
Got it. So timing is really key on that.
Timing is huge.
Trying to figure out when that customer, potential customer, is on a website and being able to identify them and make sure you're serving them correctly.
Yeah, how do you capture that intent, right?
Yeah.
When you're in a store, when you're in Target, to your previous example, right?
Yeah.
You have in-store reps that can service you in a way that is tougher to replicate online.
Yeah.
So there's enough data out there to inform the strategy. It's about codifying that data together to be able to address that opportunity. Yeah. Ultimately increase conversions, which is why we guarantee revenue for our customers. Revenue as a service is to say that we're willing to bet that our technology can change the way your consumers convert.
Yep. All of those challenges you've been solving for your customers and really seizing that opportunity, you guys have been growing like crazy.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
Like crazy. So we were acquired in November of 2020.
Okay.
Here in Indianapolis alone, we went from 26 headcount to over 175 here in Indianapolis today.
Wow.
That's in 16 short months since that acquisition that we've been able to witness that type of growth. And I really think that's driven by a couple of factors. First, anytime that you combine forces with a competitor in space, you stop cannibalizing each other from a go-to-market perspective.
Yep.
The second is the customer gets the combined offering of both entities.
Yeah.
So whether it's growth-oriented or to stave off customer churn, that becomes a really strong strategy in market. And then ultimately, to meet the needs of that growth, we need the best-of-breed talent here in Indianapolis, here in in our office in New York, in London. We just opened a space in Montreal, a space in Amsterdam, focusing on growth in APAC, with a potential presence in Australia, to meet the needs of that growth. Really, really exciting time here at Wunderkind.
Matt, so you're a Hoosier.
I am.
You started your journey here in Indianapolis. IU grad, big IU fan.
Indeed.
Went to Kelly and got an MBA there.
Yeah.
And then darn near started your journey with Smarter HQ in the early 2010s.
Yep.
So did you always think you were going into tech?
No, it's interesting. It's something that, I've talked to TechPoint a lot about. I've talked to my peers about, because the offerings at IU when I went to school was entrepreneurship, right? Not finance, accounting, marketing, some of these other, typical paths that you'll take in business school, but this blanket umbrella entrepreneurship. What it didn't offer was exposure to just how challenging and how much fun the technology industry can be. So I actually studied accounting and finance down at IU, got an MBA in accounting and spent 2 years at a public accounting firm before I joined forces with Smarter. I got access to this opportunity because I had a career mentor at the time, ex-CMO of Simon, actually, who had made an early stage investment in Smarter, who really was the catalyst for what's taken place over the last 10 years, right? Me jumping headfirst into technology, into entrepreneurial finance, and really loving every moment of that journey up to this point.
Yeah. It sounds like that, that was my question I was going to ask. How did Smarter come up? So it sounds like a mentor really that was investing in Smarter as it grew, was someone who led you down that path.
Yeah, I was 24 when I started at Smarter HQ. It was incredible, actually. I can remember the conversation. Hey, we got to get your resume tight. We're going to go ahead and apply for this role. Best case scenario, we're going to get some great feedback from the board. I tell people to this day, I think I got the role because I was the cheapest of the candidates available. I was employee number 8 in January of 2012. Wow. We're at 1,100 employees in 9 countries today at Wunderkind.
You've seen it since its genesis then.
That's right.
I mean, through every change, through every new direction, you've been right there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So you've probably, with that journey, and keep me honest in the stats here, you've been like through, and being front and center on finance and accounting, you have seen 17 rounds, I think, that the funding rounds that Smarter went through, obviously helped lead through an acquisition.
That's right.
And now are continuing to serve in a leadership capacity here in Indianapolis, but also for the broader company.
That's right.
I got to ask, like, how much of what you've leaned on throughout this journey has been, the professional schooling you got at Kelly and through IU, and how much has just been trial by fire?
Totally. And honestly, it's been a mix of both. I think first and foremost, what makes MBA school in particular so impactful is it teaches you how to think.
Yeah.
It challenges you to solve problems that don't always have an answer.
Yeah.
But it's about how you think and how you approach that problem,
Yep.
rather than focusing on what the right answer is.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, there's a best answer, but there's not a right one.
Right.
Take that into 2 years in public accounting, and really that experience laid the foundation for me and my understanding of financial statements and how businesses work. And then in the last 10, 11 years, the journey here at Smarter HQ, now Wunderkind Audiences, now Wunderkind Global, has really just been a bit of leveraging that foundation, trial by fire, taking on challenges with the same type of mindset that was set during my MBA journey, and just yearning for learning over those years.
Yeah. You talked about mentors kind of that got you just in the door at Smarter and helped you do that. How has mentorship continued to help you grow throughout that?
Absolutely. I think what's unique about Indianapolis is the tremendous amount of talent that we have here. Yeah. But it's also the approach that they take to mentoring and growing people like me. Yeah. I started when I was 24 years old. I had a lot to learn. Yeah. And I got a chance to lean on mentors, partners, vendors, law firms that all had much more exposure to technology and in the industry at large than I did. Yeah. And they were tremendously helpful and sort of expediting that ramp period that I went through for the first couple of years at Smarter. Yeah.
So why was Wunderkind the right acquisition partner? So it is Q4, or maybe it's 2020 as your team starts to ramp up and kind of think about how we continue to grow. As you look out over the horizon and see the variety of marketing technology organizations, why Wunderkind?
Really 3 reasons. First, I think what Smarter HQ, now Wunderkind Audiences, did really well was create best-of-breed segmentation technology. Okay. The who of the equation that we referenced earlier. Mm-hmm. What Wunderkind did is this really robust and innovative identity network. So now it's not just about what we understand from a behavioral perspective, actions that you take on the website, but now we learn about you from like device ID perspective. How do you like to engage brands? Is it a tablet? Is it a laptop? Yeah. Is it a cell phone? To inform at a more granular level who you are and how you'd like a brand to engage you. Yeah. The second thing that I think Wunderkind got right was their go-to-market approach. Okay. This concept of revenue as a service, guaranteed revenue for customers, allowed them to scale faster than anyone in our space. And what Smarter HQ really needed was a partner in the space to help get the message out, to help get technology to those customers. And we found since the acquisition, the tremendous growth that we've seen here in Indy globally, right? Yeah. That bet really paid off. It worked. Yeah. And then thirdly, the people. I think this is one of those reminders to all of us that as we're thinking about what makes M&A transactions successful, it's really important to focus on the people element, right? Teams have got to jive together because it's ultimately the combination of those people that makes a transaction successful.
Wunderkind puts a lot of emphasis on its people. I see that just the second I walk in your office, working with a lot of your team here at TechPoint. Yep. You guys have a great staff. There's a wonderful team that has been assembled here and throughout the world now with your offices. What are some of the things that your team focuses on and really doubles down on when it's working with its employees?
Yeah, I think right now, especially, given the last couple of years, the pandemic, some of the other things that have been happening, especially here in America, it's really embracing this concept of individuality, right? Meeting employees, really, really talented employees where they are, providing a safe space for which they can thrive. And that's, I think Wunderkind, beyond anything else that we've talked about today, that's something that they've really gotten right.
So after the acquisition, Wunderkind was headquartered in New York, also have opened offices in London. Now you're in Montreal, continuing to grow. Smarter was in Indianapolis, and there has continued to be a growth around the city. We're going from 26 employees at the end of 2020 to now, I think you said in the potentially above 150.
We're getting awfully close to 200.
There you go. You got to keep me honest because it keeps changing. But they made a decision, and your team made a decision to invest in Indiana. Why is that?
What's unique about Indianapolis here is just the tremendous amount of success stories we have in marketing technology specifically. It was an absolute no-brainer post-acquisition to double down on the talent pool that exists here. From CS to client services, to tech services, to our engineering talent that is here. For the last 15, 20 years, they all have experience in exactly what it is that we're doing in marketing technology. Of course, when they made the acquisition, the decision to double down here was top of mind for them.
I think that mentor community you talked about and how you got to where you are and how Wunderkind continues to do that is so important. So
absolutely.
Kudos there.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, when we try to highlight like where the work is to be done, we have to continue that, right? Take what I experienced over the last 10 years and really pay it forward. And find as many opportunities to do that as possible.
As we think about continuing to hire and grow the share of technology talent in Indiana and Indianapolis, you talked a bit about your journey and how you got to Smarter. You were in public accounting, were able to find that mentor, that person that helped open a door for you. Some of those students out there, and you guys have been a great you've been very much engaged in extern over the years, have externs right now.
That's right.
What do you say to some of that talent out there that is in Indiana-based universities or maybe somewhere else about starting their career here in Indianapolis?
I think, honestly, especially with what we've seen over the last, call it 2.5 years, the approach to work has changed, right? And I'd really task all students looking for, where they want to head out of university to take a deeper look at the opportunities that are here and opportunities that are abroad that can be serviced from here, because I think things like cost of living, the people that we have here, what we're doing as a city is really special. And I think it's worth taking a deeper look at what can be accomplished here coming out of those Indiana-based universities, because I've had a tremendous amount of success. You've been here having a tremendous success story of your own with TechPoint. There's ample opportunity to thrive, and I think you can do that in a way that just affords you opportunities that you don't really get on the coast with, twice as costly of living arrangements and other things. So
Wunderkind and Smarter HQ have utilized TechPoint's talent programs now for several years, and I believe you were like one of the initial adopters of the extern program in the early stages when we started it. Can you talk a little bit about some of the talent you've been able to work with from that program and how they've done in your organization?
I think a couple of comments there. What's unique about the program, especially for startups and scale-ups, right, is it allows us to have a presence at universities that we couldn't have ourselves. So our ability to look like a Google, an Apple, a Salesforce at these universities, to be able to create a program that gives us access to the type of talent that we've been able to have access to through the extern program, is an incredible plus for us, small startup and scale-up companies here in Indianapolis.
Yep.
Some of our externs became some of our best software engineers during this 10-year run that we've had. It's been incredible. From the likes of a Valparaiso University. That's not something that a short-staffed G&A function can support. We can't be at all those career fairs. We can't afford to have that type of presence at these universities. So tremendously helpful to be able to leverage a partner like TechPoint and providing access to that talent.
That's great. So Matt, Wunderkind was Scale Up of the Year this year at the Mira Awards. Our first Mira Awards back in person in 2 years since the pandemic. You guys took home the 2022 Scale Up of the Year award. And if we think back, just 10 years ago, the Smarter HQ team was Startup of the Year. So you've come full circle.
No doubt.
It was awesome to see
In 2014, if you would have asked, I thought that was one of the greatest moments of my career. Fast forward, 8-9 years, and here we are, eclipsing that milestone. Just a tremendous success story. I think really highlights the grit and persistence for all of the folks that have worked with us, invested in us, believed in us over the last 10 years. What a great story for Indianapolis and for all involved with Smarter HQ, now Wunderkind.
So some of the things I think as they introduced your team and as you submitted your application, something like 50% revenue growth, significant headcount growth.
That's right.
What's the future look like here locally and beyond?
So I think we are, doubling down our go-to-market approach, right? We got to open new verticals, verticals that act like retailers, travel and hospitality, financial services. We got to open new markets, right? I mentioned that we opened a small office in Amsterdam. We're looking at a space in Australia.
Wow.
That is really trying to take Wunderkind global in ways that we hadn't before. So absolutely committed to chasing revenue at all costs. But I think what we've seen, especially in the last 6 months, with some of this macroeconomic uncertainty, is that companies really got to be smart about how they scale. So although we, 300%, 3 times ourselves rather in the last 15 months from a headcount perspective, what we're really focused on right now is making sure that we scale efficiently. Innovating the product, focusing on how we service that revenue as we scale is incumbent on us and frankly, everyone in the private space that's private funded.
So what does the future look like in e-commerce? I mean, 2020 completely changed how the behavior plus the who of how folks are engaging with brands and how they're purchasing items. What does that mean for you and the business? And put your crystal ball out. What are we looking towards and what do we see?
Sure, I think I'll start at the highest level, right? Global population's on the rise. We now have computers in our pocket. Access to information is like it never has been before. People always need stuff. Force them to stay at home for 2 years, e-commerce shoots out like a rocket, right? You experience exponential growth. Spotify put out a message yesterday that they were betting on that type of exponential growth to persist. I do think that it will cool off in a post-pandemic era, but I still think stable, incredible growth in e-commerce and really a transition from e-commerce to commerce. Because with globalization, this is the approach that you have to take. And I think it's here to stay, frankly. For Wunderkind specifically, great place to hang out, especially with the revenue as a service model. So as we see growth in e-commerce or commerce, our ability to guarantee more revenue on behalf of our customers is there, and ultimately we get credit for it.
Matt, thank you so much for hosting us today. I speak for the entire team at TechPoint on this. We are grateful for the partnership with Wunderkind and, of course, the work we've done with you over the past 10 years and your entire team. So we look forward to your continued presence and growth here in Indiana and look forward to continued work with you. Thank you for being a part of the circus today.
Hey, thank you so much. Anyone watching this, if you want to come stop by our office downtown, we're in the Century Building, floor 3 and 4. We'd love to have you come by.
need to do it. It's a sweet place.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks,
today.
Matt.